later on, we also put it on our YouTube channel and share with the participants. In case you have any queries during the session, you can put it in the chat box and ask it directly at the end of the sessions when the presentations are over. And I have also few questions which were submitted during the registrations that I will take up later if time permits. If we are if we are still having some time after the live questions. So these are some basic things that we are going to follow during this session. So while starting, I would like to request Dr. Sitzel Grimstead, who is the Vice Chair of ICA-AP Research Committee and adjunct professor at Griffith Business School, and she has a vast experience in cooperative movement as a research scholar also, and has contributed a lot around a lot of regional studies, and especially when it comes to sectoral knowledge of cooperative housing. So without further delaying, I would like to request Dr. Sitzel Grimstead to take over and help us in initiating this discussion. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you, Naveen. Thank you so much. I'm really happy to invite you all to this 16th online Cooperative Research Colloquium. And this time we have chosen to provide a very practical workshop. Normally we talk about a topic in co-ops, but this time we thought we will dedicate this to our young and emerging cooperative research scholars. And for this, to this end, we have chosen to have a workshop on what we call the 3-minute thesis, which was, what shall I say, invented. It started in at the University of Queensland in Australia, but has now gone worldwide. And our two workshop facilitators will give you a deep introduction to what it is and what are the lessons learned when you perform a 3-minute thesis presentation. I think the 3-minute thesis presentation are particularly important for cooperative researchers because we often do research in very complex settings and around quite complex issues. So trying to hone our skills, our communication skills, to present what we are doing and why we are doing it is a really important thing for cooperative researchers. So I really hope that you will take as much knowledge out of this workshop as possible. Also, just to mention that we are, this is I think, Naveen, you said it is a mandatory workshop for those young and emerging scholars who are participating in our Cooperative Research Conference, which will take place in Sri Lanka on the 23rd of November. And those who are not able to be here, we will, of course, have a recording so you can see it afterwards. But I think it will really help you to prepare you for this workshop, because we are expecting you to present a 3-minute thesis there. So for those who are here today, you will have an advantage. You will have a head start on this process. So I don't want to introduce our speakers too much, because I think you can say a little bit yourself, but we are very lucky to have Heidi Wechtler, originally from France, but she is a senior lecturer at the University of Newcastle, my old university. She is also has the role of deputy head of School of Research and Training. And in that role, she is responsible for more than 110 PhD students, academic and emotional welfare. And you can see Sabiha loves Heidi. And I can only say that Heidi is creating such a nice learning environment in the business school. And she is also, of course, has been responsible for running the 3-minute thesis at the business school for the last 5 years, I think. And of course, one of those years, Sabiha won the 3-minute thesis. And I think, and Heidi has also been the judge in many other faculties, 3-minute thesis competitions, and other universities as well, I think. Just briefly on Sabiha, but I'm expecting you will talk a little bit about yourself. Sabiha Matin, originally you're from Bangladesh, but you are now a doctorate in marketing, international, global marketing, I think. And you won the university 3-minute thesis competition and the People's Prize. So normally in these competitions, you have both an academic or should I say, judged prize, but you also have the People's Prize for the most engaging presentation. So I don't want to say anything more, and I will give the Zoom, the floor, to Heidi to start her presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So my name is Heidi, and I am Deputy Head of School Research Training at the University of Newcastle. Can you hear me well? Because it's red. Yes. I do organize a 3-minute thesis, and I'm going to share a little bit of experience of how we train the PhD students for the 3-minute thesis at Newcastle, and also the experience we've had in terms of the evaluation, the criteria, and how the panel perceives the 3-minute thesis from the student. So I'm going to share my screen now. Sorry. You can see the screen, yes? Yes, okay. Not moving. Okay, so Cecil explained a little bit. It comes from, it's an Australian thing from Queensland in 2008. It's not very important anymore. What we know, it is spreading, and a lot of, like many more countries are actually using this. Why that's so popular? It looks a bit like a game. It's how you do condense an entire PhD of, you know, like so many pages and words into just 3 minutes. Most people think this is actually almost against the point. Okay, so many years of work that you want to spend time and love to explain what you do. The reality of this is what we do is so specific very quickly. Nobody's interested because it's too technical, and it's very boring for most of us to listen to someone else research. So I think the origin of that is like, how can you try to retranslate that research to normal people, like a normal audience that could see the value of the research you are doing. So the idea is to present that in 3 minutes with one slide only, so nothing moving, no... if you read the rules are very funny. You're not supposed to jump, you're not supposed to run or dance or sing or do poetry. It's very specific, and you probably know why. It's because someone tried, right? So we just downplay. No. It has to be very simple, and you have to take into account that the audience is meant to be not in your field. So all the very specific words and all the things that you take for granted is actually, you have to remove all these assumptions, that you have to re-explain what is it and why does it matter. Why does it matter? You have to explain. In fact, you can see that almost as an investment. When you do your research, when you do a PhD, it's not only often PhD students are very into themselves, or young researchers as well, like it's my research, I'm working on this, etc. You have to see that more beyond our journey with our research, the investment that other people do when they invest on us, because we are spending so many years of our lives doing research instead of doing something else. So it's also to say to the other people, what I'm doing, and I'm spending so many years to do that, is really important, because it's going to make a difference. And this is really, in those 3 minutes, the practicality and how specific are the bits inside that really into your field This is not what interests people. What people want to know is, why did you choose to spend so much time to do what? To make what difference on whom, in what way? The second thing is, often people believe that what they do is very special and they have no one to talk to, and it's very unique what we do. In fact, the more you go up, the more you feel like there's a lot of people in your field being almost better than you, okay, better than us. So the point is to say, well, I know there are other people working on this, but what is special about my research is because I'm doing something a little bit different, or with that bit that is more creative than my neighbor. So the higher we go, we need to say, well, I need to acknowledge the fact that I have more competition because I'm challenging myself with, in front of me, people are, you know, good at what they do as well. So you need to convince the people in front of you that what you do is not just one more scholar in your field, but what you're doing is actually unique and special. So that those 3 minutes is just to say that, and that's for you to think about how you're going to make that clear, what is special about yourself and your research, what is going to make you different compared to your neighbor who's doing like similar-ish research, at least for a non-expert audience, and what difference is it going to make. What do we expect from that talk in those 3 minutes? In fact, it's really not random and to blah, blah, blah for 3 minutes. It has to be very well prepared in terms of content. So what we intend to find in that is the what. So the core elements of the research of what you are studying. And here again, because we assume that they are non-expert, you have to really be simple in the way you present things. So indeed, I was in a panel this year in the engineering school. I was chosen on purpose to be the non-expert. And I was really interesting to listen to, I can't remember, maybe 15 presentations in the 3 minute thesis in the engineering school. And I was like, oh dear, I'm not going to understand anything about it. But that was almost a game, to have me in the room to force the students to make sure that whatever they're going to explain that is very technical, I can receive it. We did the same at the business school. We actually had the chance to have one panel member from Yale. Well, this way we could just look clever, but she's in English literature. And she was listening, she's an expert in climate change, but from an English background, like a literature background. And that was just to listen to those management business presentation and to see how it has make a difference. How can she receive that, although we are business people? The second point that we're gonna need in the script is the why this matter at all. Okay, we need more than just, well, this is what I'm doing and I'm doing it like that. It was like, why are we doing this? What the real problem in the real world that we are trying to solve? So if everything goes well, let's assume it's not the case and you don't know why you're doing this research anymore. It's okay. You need to just go backward and try to think, what's the problem in the real world that I'm actually solving, and what this is missing, and if I bring my little piece, what difference is going to make. None of us are going to change radically the field or the world one by one. This is not what we expect from you. What we expect is just to say, this is my small contribution that's going to bring a little bit more. And if everyone brings a little bit more, maybe we're going to go somewhere in a better place. We need to know about the how. So we don't need the technical, very specific things about the methods and the statistics or whatever you could be doing, but we want to know just a little bit all the great things that you just explained, the what and what the problem, and this is what I'm going to solve. I need to understand in the audience that you can actually do it. Okay, it's feasible. So I need to understand that you can access the data that are necessary to answer that question. What kind of data? I don't know. What kind of, doing qualitative research, quantitative research, you're doing creative pieces even. It doesn't matter as long as I understand why you decided to solve it this way and what does it involve in practice for me to understand. The last point that we need in the script is really the so what in a practical sense. And there was one professional, one man from the industry at the engineering school competition, and he was saying, for me, I need to understand what the return on investment. So when you pitch your research for 3 minutes, it's almost like I'm an investor, okay? I need to understand, why should I put a bet on you and support you, maybe sponsor you to do that research? What is it gonna bring to me directly, but also to society, to my industry, whatever that would be. And that can't be just assumed and implicit. It has to be very clear that your interpretation of what is the practical takeaway. So I developed a page for you, and Sitso or Navin will just share that later on, but there is all the things that I'm explaining right now, but also some exercise that we developed in the business school to prepare it for the 3-minute thesis. So that's the speech content, and once you actually wrote the draft, it's to read it again and to find, where is your research problem in your script? Where is the research question in your script? Why is that important? Is that written in your script? So to put this, all the questions and your ideas for you to develop the content and to check if it's really there. Then I wanted to spend a few minutes on the common mistakes. So over the years, the common mistake would have been, number one, the timing. So that's the entire game, right? This is why it's called 3-minute thesis, because it has to be 3 minutes. Of course, nobody can do exactly 3 minutes, and you've sentenced in 3 minutes sharp. We all know that this is not the point. The rule is you can't go beyond. If you go beyond 3 minutes, you are disqualified. So that's really important for you to make sure that you stop talking when it's 3 minutes. One of the key problems was actually it's too short. We had maybe 1/3 of the participants that were around 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So you have an entire 30 seconds missing. So here you're not disqualified, you're still running the competition. But why is that a problem? Because someone else is going to use those 30 seconds to say more. Okay, so someone else has an advantage on you. It's a lost opportunity for you because you didn't use all the time that you had to convince the people in front of you, which is a shame. So we're not going to be disqualified because of this, but probably it's going to cost points, or there is space for people to get more points compared to you. The second mistake would be the blank moment. There is once per year. Okay, so I'm not too sure in other schools, but including in the engineering school and in our school, once per year, someone just shuts down like So why do people completely lose like this script, this speech in the middle of the 3 minutes? 3 minutes not that long, and that's what you do in primary school, right? So why all of a sudden, like, you are growing up and you can't finish your 3 minutes speech? Well, it's because it's over reliance on memory. So you learn by heart, and because you're very anxious, it just disappears, and the next sentence doesn't come. And because you're not thinking anymore to what you're actually explaining, it's only based on memory, not you sharing your knowledge. You're not able to move forward. You just shut down completely. So the problem is, most likely that script is not very natural. So for instance, either you ChatGPT it, not that you would, but it's a possibility. You copy paste it from your proposal or from your, confirmation document. So, this is, I already said that. So I copy paste it and I just put it somewhere else. The problem with that is this is not spoken language. So you're trying to learn by heart something that is very difficult to say. And we don't want to do that, because when you lose under pressure, you lose you lose your words, then you can't continue. So the solution would be to prepare a script that you would naturally say. So for that, you need to actually talk to yourself. Instead of writing a script, you just take a piece of paper and a pen and you pretend, or you record yourself. Okay, you just say, okay, let's say, today I present my research, and then you just listen to yourself talking, you record yourself, and then you write that. And memorizing this, something that you actually said when trying to explain, is much more likely to stay compared to learning a script that you didn't really write. But what if it happens anyway? Because it will happen to one of you. I'm not too sure which one, but it may happen to one of you. So this is what we do most of the time, is we ask for a redo at school level. The redo is you disqualified anyway, but you ask kindly permission to try again, even with your notes. Why? Because now that you're here and now that you train for it, we would like to know what you're actually working about. So it's not only about winning, right? We know you're not going to win today with a redo, but you can ask gently to share still what you actually prepared with the rest of the audience. The third mistake was very much too much about the background. So the what and what the problem would be almost 2 minutes. And then in 1 minute, I'm going to pack up how I do it and what does it bring. So it's too long on, oh, my topic is so interesting. It's so interesting. My what is so interesting. It's so important. And because of that, what you're doing is no longer about the research that you're doing. It's not enough about you. It's too much about it's too much about your passion about the topic rather than yourself and your research in particular. So you need to find some balance for people to understand what you do in general, like the topic, but also what you do in terms of that research in particular that is, different compared to someone else. Well then, the last mistake would be the choice of the picture or what you choose to put in the background. So what we've learned is probably simple is better. When there is too much text, people get distracted. So it's impossible for the panel to listen to what you say because the script is so dense in those 3 minutes. We can't read the slide and listen to yourself. In 3 minutes, there is no break. Okay, there is no rest and silence when you can just listen to the teacher, check the board, listen to the teacher, check the board. It's 3 minutes intense of listening. So there is no way for people to actually read what's written on the slide. So I would say if you have to choose, almost no words or very, very, very little. You can replace words by illustration, icons and systems, but not explanation in a lot of text because people won't have time to read it. We also know that people are using AI more and more to generate all sort of things, to generate image, and that's not a problem. It's actually authorized, especially if you mention this has been, designed with whatever, ChatGPT, DALL-E, etc. The problem, it has this very particular style that is easy to recognize, and people can get tired of seeing only AI things one after another. So you need to find a way also to make a difference and to be memorable. So if all of you have the same sort of tools to develop the same kind of images, you're not special anymore. I put some example of the 3 minute thesis this year. So I tried to find some really different designs and topics. So you can see on the top left, that's a bit of a model, okay, with things coming with different parts that's supposed to be explaining the core concept in the middle. So here, there's just like a few words, just the name of the things, and ideally you could almost remove those names if you had an icon that is self-sufficient. Here it's not easy because business model innovation, there's nothing that would convey that idea altogether just like in a very clear way, but it has to be very minimalist. The second one on the top right is actually from the law school because we had like a merge business and law 3 minute series competition this year. There is no text at all. Okay, so that was the winner from the law school, and it was "What About Tommy?" That was the title of the series, and that's the story of how we treat children, etc. Blah blah blah. So here there was no need for explanation and no need for words at all. That picture was actually more powerful without anything written on it. So that's another choice. It's a possibility. Then we had just like a title and an illustration, like AI generated image, for instance. the second one as well, which is a little bit more difficult to read, but it's just to show like very different style that was really engaging and people understood right away. Okay, I get it. I can see in 1 second, I can see what that research is more or less about. So I developed 2 more exercises. One is a script checked. So from the most common mistakes. So for instance, do we have any jargon or technical terms? This happened this year, like the winner, she got an acronym in the middle, like she confused everyone. So when we sent her to the next round to university level, we did ask her to remove that. So it has to be replaced by plain word, for instance. Acronyms and abbreviation, that's the same problem. If you have long or complicated sentences, most likely you didn't actually say that. You wrote it or copy-paste it from your document. So try to make it more spoken language. Words that are difficult to pronounce. I'm French. Most of you didn't use English or their native language, and there are just some words that is just not for us. It's just the way it is, and it's okay. So if those words makes it difficult and anxious for you, and you know it's a problem every time you try to just remove them. Okay, swap it for something that is more fluid in the way you present your script. When you think it's starting to be very, very specific and a lot of details, well, try to spot, do I have that section when it's actually quite specific and detailed, and how can I make it a little bit more general? You know, for instance, I have 372 surveys. Do we care? Like around 400 is probably enough for a general audience. Excessive background information, unclear so what, lack of flow between problem, method, and contribution and impact, too much focus on the method detail, and the timing too long or too short when you actually rehearse. So here again, that's just once you have the script, you just check it again to see if you find some of those mistakes, and if you find them, you try to correct them. The third one, which is not nothing, is the way the panel is going to read it. So the way the panel is going to read it is that's the criteria that we're using for the business school. You have to check the one that will be used in your competition. But in general, it's something very much about the presentation provided a clear background and significance to the research question. So that was the what and the why we're doing this. Instruction, try to find in your text what relates to that and highlight it in yellow. If you can't find it, most likely the audience is going to struggle to really find what you were talking about and why that was important. The presentation provided a clear positionality of the presenter to the research and the research approach. Same, try to put that text in blue in your text, and if you can't find it, try to just adjust to make sure the audience can find it in a very explicit way. The presentation clearly described the research strategy, design, result, and finding of the research. If you don't have the findings yet, it's okay. You can say, well, we anticipate 300 surveys, or we anticipate 30 interviews, something like that, and we anticipate that I will bring whatever. Same, use green font if you don't find it, or if it's very small, maybe the script is not balanced enough. Presentation clearly described the conclusion, outcome, and impacts of the research. Try to put it in pink. That is always the weakest point in the script, always. Then we have the second part is more, that's the quality of the text. And then we have the quality of the presentation, right? So if you were completely anxious and like that and just about to cry in front of everyone, or if you're just happy to share with some energy and some love sharing into like the passion that you have and what you're doing this. So this we're gonna ask, the oration word delivered clearly, the language was appropriate for a non-specialist audience, the PowerPoint slide was well defined and enhanced the presentation, and the presenter conveyed enthusiasm for the research and capture and maintain the audience attention. So this is what, and then you can just mark yourself, okay? So you record yourself, you try, and you mark yourself from 1 to 5. We can't just change completely who we are, but at least we can be aware of how this is going to be perceived in front of the others. That's all I have for now. Then, I mean, I'm happy to answer question, but I just wanted to show, can I skip that? For 1 second. So that's the page I was talking about that you will have access with, well, more or less what I said, but better written. The exercise, the most common mistakes, example of slides. The past winners, the recordings are not very good, but it's still quite helpful with the slide that they use for their presentation. And the art of presenting, I just wanted to say that sometimes we cheat at the business school. And what I mean by cheating, we actually call a coach for those who are very anxious and not very happy presenting, but still wants to make the efforts to try. We just redirect them to a coach. We just train them with the confidence and the accent and just the way of presenting and so on. So like we share a coach with you, and you can call him if you need to. That's it.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you so much. That was really, really insightful. And yes, there's a question already from Anjali. Yes, we will share the presentation, and the website that you have developed for us will also be
Yes.
accessible for everybody. So I'm really grateful for those resources. I would also point you to many universities have the 3-minute thesis recordings from different presentations as well. So if you are Googling, you can Google some universities in Australia and you will find some more presentations there. Oh, I think we'll go on to, and we'll answer all the questions at the end, I think, because they're practical questions. And I'll give the floor to Sabiha. I hope I pronounced it correctly. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Sabiha. Technically means beautiful, and I accept that. Okay. So before begin, thank you to you can see my screen, I hope, right? Yeah. Before begin, I'd like to clear a few things. First of all, you must follow what the technical structure is, which Heidi mentioned. What, why, how, and when to, or so what aspect. So that must be there. What I am going to take it forward from Heidi is to share some few strategies and few tips from my experience and being a judge of 3-minute thesis at school level. So what I will share is some tips and strategies that you can accommodate, you can take into account while you are designing or writing or preparing your 3-minute thesis. So it will start with my story, of course. Is when I heard about this from my supervisor, and then back home, I was always an extrovert, and then I came here. It's all this cultural shock, language shock, Australian shock, and everything, and I kind of forgot. I was really anxious. What Heidi said, that at least one student get really blank. I thought I would be that one. So when my supervisor said that, oh, you should go for it, and I was like, back home, I used to talk a lot. Then I became this silent person, introvert here. These sound like a nice platform for me because I have to talk less. Just remember that usually you have to talk a lot, but then now you have to talk less. And I said, okay, let's sign up for it. And then I signed up. One thing I must tell you that it just gave me this so much clarity about my research, my methodology, and especially my contribution. I done this right after my confirmation. In 1 year, you need to propose your PhD and stuff. I haven't had any data. I haven't had a lot of other stuff that I wish I could have presented that time. But then when I designed my script, rewritten my script, we haven't had any ChatGPT. We had to rely on our entire proposal or PhD. So it just gave me so much clarity. And I'm glad that this host or this organizer have hosted this session so the students can this PhD people can join and then get this clarity utilizing this platform. So let's begin with my first idea is visual hammer. So what Heidi said in her fourth mistake, which is AI fatigue. What is it is actually it's just one slide, and it's because we are so excited about our PhD. And I was looking at some of the slides that she was showing, and it has I want to add a little bit of words, I want to add a little bit of images, this image, that image, because I'm so excited about my PhD, which is great. But what I would suggest you to start with a story, possibly with a character, possibly with an icon that works as a visual hammer. So that hammer, people will remember maybe the name of the character, maybe the story, maybe the icon that you have used. Because I was just looking at Heidi when she was mentioning the law student who won the competition, and she was so sure about the photo. The photo took a lot of attention from the audience. So perhaps instead of starting, hello, this is this and that, or my research is that, you can start with the story or with a character and with an icon. In this case, I can tell that in my case, I was using a character, which is Alexander, which I created, and how Alexander was facing problem in experience in Bangladesh, how Alexander should be taken out from that situation, and how I am as a superwoman helping him out. So there were one character and one super icon, and that one specific icon that people remembered. And I remember when I was receiving this award from the Vice Chancellor, and he was like, oh, you are that lady. So try to find one visual hammer that will help people or the judges to remember you. The second thing would be, I understand you are very excited about your research. I understand you are doing a lot in your research. I also understand that you have a purpose to doing research, but this 3-minute thesis also has a purpose. The audience can be from non-academic or non-expert people. They are not from your area. So they don't know what are the literature gaps, what are the research gaps, and what are this and that. So when we present, and I've seen many presentations, they are so obsessed with their idea. Like, I am doing this because I feel like that. It's not about you anymore. This 3-minute platform is you telling those people or audience or the judges that it's not just my problem. I am actually solving your problem. So just turn the story from I am doing this, I found this, to you view perspective, and then say, this is what you have been feeling, or this is you may have felt this, or you may have experienced this. So begin with a problem your audience feels, not what you have studied. After, when you share the story or share the problem, it should be a practical, every problem, I understand it has the technical issues for PhD, model and this and that, but there is a core problem that you are solving. Try it to say it from you view perspective, like how audience would feel. What I say is they should feel like, oh, that's actually a problem. I wonder how she would solve it. So that should the way you explaining the problem or the research problem should not look like these researchers have not found this. There are limited research. These keep them for your thesis. You will need it. But for 3-minute PhD, 3-minute thesis, you may consider saying something that your audience may feel like, oh, I really want her to solve it, or him to solve it. So instead of saying, in my research, I study early childhood nutrition disparities on whatever, you say, think about walking down, you now taking that audience into the journey of yours, and you're saying, seeing those bright, perfect apples, or realizing they are just out of reach. So you're still talking about nutrition disparities, but you are now connecting with the audience, and you let the audience feel your research problem. The next one would be, don't overshare, especially your methodology. And Heidi already mentioned that we are excited, we are doing a lot. Some research are so extensive, 110,000 words. So we have a lot to share. We want to show people that we have solving a complex ideas. We are doing a complex methodology. This is actually this research and that research. And we want to share everything to the audience. Just remember, the judges are not here to judge your PhD. They are thesis examiners. They will do that part later, after 4 years when you submit. This is just to get that idea you are doing something meaningful here. So don't overshare, especially the research methodology part. You simply say, did I have this? No. You simply say that instead of saying that I will be doing sequential this method or I'll be doing hypothesis testing, you simply say I will talk to people. I will then numberize the numbers. Simply say what you are doing and see if you have this question answered. What you do doing, why you doing that, how you doing that, and so what aspect. For so what aspect, I will ask you to look at 2 contributions. We all have, like when you are writing our PhD or thesis or even defending our confirmation proposal, we have 2 types of contribution, theoretical and practical. Think this 3-minute platform as presenting your practical aspects a little bit more. So how? So instead of saying no other theories have done SOR theory and its extension, people or the judges may not get it what you are doing. So work on the practical contribution of the story or your PhD. Your supervisors, they love theory, I get it, but your audience, they love stories that make sense to them. So my third suggestion would be to focus on the practical contribution and connect them back to the 4 criteria of what, why, how, and so what. Saying that, but also say it from a practical aspect. The one that I did and I got my success is niece and nephew test. This is my beautiful niece. She is amazing. She loves cat. She's brutally honest, bluntly honest. So what I did when I written my script, I simply said that to her. And I said, this is, I am asking for your 3 minutes. I will buy cat food for you. Listen to me. And I shared my thing to her. And she said, oh, I actually did not get that. And it was actually an acronym or jargon. And I said, okay, I will come back to you. Let me work on it. And I revised my things. And she said, okay, yeah, I get it. But I actually didn't get that methodology part. I came back again. I revised my script and I presented to her again. Once she said, yeah, I got it. And I said, I asked her later. I asked her back again. I said, what I have done? And she said, you done this. Why I'm doing this? She said, you're doing this for that. How I'm doing this? Oh, you're doing this survey and interview or something. So what? Why do you think? And she was clearly telling me the practical aspects of it. So this niece and nephew test works. If 8 and 10-year-olds can get it, everyone will get it. So that's and they are brutally honest. They will tell you why you are so excited about your PhD. So this is what you are doing. It's so simple. Why are you taking 4 years? Now you know that it's ready. The next one is tweak your title. Our PhD title, we think maybe, I don't know, many of us, like we make it a little bit complicated, examining factors, relationship between this and that. Perhaps tweak your title so that it just simply tells the, like, again, the story or the visual hammer or your practical contribution. I did it. My initial, when I submitted my proposal, my initial title was examining factors between these factors, destination image and investment. I like, it's a too long title. Can I make it simple? So I just like optimizing the benefits of business events, simple. But with this era of ChatGPT, you may actually do a quite quick run and then see how simply you can tell your or share your title to this audience, and that makes sense. So I said that your thesis title is for the library chef, or maybe not. People read it. I did it. I still read my thesis. I'm obsessed with it. But your 3-minute title is for humans. what I would say is end with something, like don't just say, oh, thank you, and then you clap or you get nervous. It's fine, but I would suggest you to end with something that your audience, again, connected back with the visual hammer that you have used in the beginning, or the story that you have used. If you're introducing a character, Superman, Superwoman, or an icon or something, I remember in one of my presentations, not 3 minute, but still a presentation, I used an elephant, and I used this elephant in the beginning of the story, and I shared that, and end of the story, I brought that back elephant to the scene. So you can use a metaphor or a thought-provoking question, or ending with something that your audience may think like, I wonder that what she's doing after that, leave them thinking, not just you clapping like, thank you, thank you, thank you, which is gonna be like, very typical way to end your presentation. There are a few more tips that I wish someone would have told me. I wish there were ICA-AP hosts were hosting this type of workshop for us. But I agree with Heidi, record yourself. I know that it may sound like, I don't want to, but you signed up for 3 Minute Thesis. So record yourself, see. I received some feedback from judges, beautiful comments, not just from my 3 Minute Thesis, but for my, any types of presentation or even class delivery. I got it like, I noted it down, I reflected on it, and I took my learning. So record yourself, and then the power of pause. So although it's a 3 minute, 180 second, I would say consider this as a 140 to 50 seconds of your script, because you will be taking some powerful pauses in between. Don't just like give them awkward silent pauses. When you are presenting your research question, that's why you stop, take a 2-second pause, and then begin. When you're presenting or like a suspense kind of a thing in your visual hammer slide or introductory slide, take a 1-second pause and let them think. And at the end, when you are asking your audience again, like, are they with this journey with you or not? Take a pause and then say thank you. So the pauses are really, really, really powerful if you know when and how to use it. And there are a few other rules, but I'm not going through them all, but I would say dress matters, how you present yourself, and don't overdress, of course, but however possible, because your dress not also make that impact in the audience or the judges, but also makes you confident in terms of your delivery. And finally, avoid jargons, and yes, it's me. Means don't use jargons that you are, it's just very popular in your research area, that marketing people or the finance people may get it, but I would suggest you to use other synonyms that that just makes it easier for the audience. And Heidi already told that they gave this comment to the next participant when they are going to the next stage, that this is the word you may consider. I actually got similar comment from my judges that you may consider tweaking this, like destination image may not be perceived as same as your audience or judges. So I had to like simply say like, other words to make it more easily understandable to my audience. Yeah, that's it. And that's my cute certificate I got. I hope you may use your next 3 minutes to change someone's mind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sabiha. That was wonderful. Yeah, really, really useful advice for us all. I think we all need it, actually, not only for the 3 minute thesis. I think we can learn so much from thinking more clearly about how we explain the research we are doing in general. I wanted to open up the floor for questions. And maybe you use, or do you have any questions already, Naveen? For our presentation?
There's some in the chat. So
yeah, We have questions in chat as well as in registration form. So if people are here with us, maybe from Nepal, we have Miss Riju. Would you like to put your question?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. It was a lovely presentation. I think in one of the presentation of Haiti, there was this slide where it was mentioned that the problem should be in certain color. So I wanted to ask, should we use the color in our presentation or it's just for the reference? And should the presentation be just like one slide?
Yeah, so the text and the color is actually just for you because there is no text at all. So you are actually not giving your script to the panel. Nobody is reading what you wrote. You are also not allowed to bring the notes on stage. Actually, I don't think it's allowed, and if it's allowed, you're probably gonna lose a lot of points for that. So there is actually no text. That's just for you to have a better script and to work on it using a color code so you can just improve it. It's another form of the niece test, right? If you don't have a niece to start with, so just to actually check using the color code and then go see your niece and nephew. And there is no text at all. I mean, you could add a little bit of text on your one slide, and it's usually a short title or a few words here and there, but usually there is no sentence at all.
Oh yeah, there's a question about statistics, yeah?
Yes. Yes, there is then question about statistics from Anjali Patil. Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
it's from myself.
Mhm.
Yes. Now I got it, but I have question regarding that. Because as a researcher, we have lot of statistics, but how to present that in the presentation? It is a big question for me.
Do
Can you
you mean
explain in that way?
do you mean
Uh,
statistics like to in the problem, and this how you convince people, like 80% of people feel burnt out at work, or is that the statistic like in your findings in your model?
yes.
Oh, so we don't care.
Mm.
We don't care about I'm a statistician, by the way, so I'm a used to be. So as a statistician, I can say that's the least interesting. We don't want p-values, we don't want significant. Actually, most normal people, significant doesn't mean significant in statistics. So for safety reason, don't use the word significant at all. If 2.39 or if it doesn't mean anything to people. So it has to translate that with a sentence that is for everyone to understand. So there is no on the slide. You would never put your statistical findings on it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So,
Got it.
We want a story instead. So you have
Right.
to,
Right.
for 1 minute, turn your statistics into a story.
so
Okay.
Heidi, could you say something like if you have in a statistical terms, if you have a significant finding, you can say most people did this. You know, you can
Yeah,
use
or
it
it makes a
very,
difference. It makes a
it makes
difference
a
when you
difference.
leader,
Yeah.
when you leader actually care and listen to how you feel at work, it makes a difference and you work better. Rather than there is a positive and significant relationship between this and that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is exactly what I answered to her question, that statistics are use it only if you are establishing your research purpose and that statistic is needed. Like 60% of people are facing this problem, or 60% of the world population, or this, use it if it's needed to establish your purpose. Otherwise, I will not complicate things.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions, Naveen, from the registration form, maybe?
Yeah, from registration we have, but would like to check if anyone else would like to ask any questions live, or we can. Okay. Okay, so I'll
May I ask a question?
right. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Anurag. I'm from India, and my abstract has been selected for the ICA-AP Research Conference in Sri Lanka, and would be more than happy to present my paper there. And for this 3-minute thesis, I noticed that it's like one slide only that we have to present. So do you have any such slide? I mean, to have a clear idea, if you can show such actual slide that you presented
Yeah.
anywhere.
Can I share again?
Any templates we are asking for, any template.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is okay, that's the one I showed earlier. Okay, so here there's 4. You can interpret this the way you want. You could actually draw and paint something and put that image instead. It could be a photograph of, you know, you and your family for whatever reason. It could be a landscape. It could be a person. It could be more like a PowerPoint style, like the first one on the top left. It's more, you know, like a process sort of thing. It's your interpretation, but it has to, that's it. It's just one image. So you don't even have 2, like, you know, like the
Wow.
title and your name, and then you move and you have 1. Okay, it's only 1. That's it. So
Yes.
there's not even 2. And there is no videos because 1 was almost disqualified this year because she took, you know, that something with numbers falling, and you know, it's like a loop video thing, just a few seconds. So that's not allowed. It's not, you don't have any effects. So you could imagine, for instance, the top left, you start with the title and then you click and the things appears. That's not allowed. Okay, so there's nothing moving. It's 1. That's it.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much.
I will share some more examples
Right.
from these different universities. Yeah, and then these videos that Heidi has also shared on the website are really useful to watch. Can you show the road to change, Heidi, for instance? Maybe.
The video.
Yeah, maybe that's a good idea. Is that the video, the slide down there, or?
Yeah, so that's the slide, and that's the 3 minutes, actually, the performance of it. So that's the second round. The first round is school level, and then that's Alex won the school level, and then you go to university level against all the other schools. So it's a pretty big room, and it's a real stage with it's a bar initially, so it's quite, you know, like on TV, you would be like a star on stage and all that. And she has, as Sabiha was saying, she got a really nice outfit. She gets this very pink suit, like the Barbie pink suit, and she looks absolutely astonishing in it. And it has to be matching. So we don't say, you know, dress in a particular way, but it has to be a whole thing. So your person, that one slide, your performance, and the script, all of that is the 3-minute thesis. So the recording are, you know, like from the crowd, and the sound is not exceptional, but it might be enough to have a feel of how stressful and it might be to present in front of people like that. And that below, that's a slide. And I choose on purpose like very different. So this one is more like a comic style. It's about telemedicine and people choosing or not to trust doctors online. So that's a kind of, so the image is supposed to be in the context, something that you would remember really well. And that it doesn't work as much right now, but we've seen, you know, maybe 14 presentation last year, and that one image, for some reason, just because of what he was saying at the same time, was very memorable. So it has to be like that. That one image has to be memorable with what you say.
So yeah, so this website we are sharing with you, and you can look at these videos, presentations in your own time. I think you know, this is part of the challenge, is to actually find that image that can explain that you can use as a way of explaining your research. So it's up to you being creative and trying to reach another audience, not your supervisor.
Yeah. I would suggest you to go for the niece and nephew test again.
Yeah, the niece and nephew test is a good one.
Ask them, does this image actually make sense for what I just said? Yeah.
Yeah. Is
There's
there
someone-
another question? Yeah.
Yes, I do have one more. So I see that there's a Young Scholars Award during the event. So is it based on the research we submit, or is it based on the 3 minutes presentation?
Sure, exactly. So I know that all of the young scholars who are participating in the workshop, they will have submitted an abstract, and I'm assuming that for the 3-minute thesis, you will use that abstract to present your research. I don't know if you have other research topics, but I think it would be wise to use that abstract. Yeah, I think that's all. I mean, if you have specific questions, maybe come and ask us. But that's the point. But you know, the 3-minute thesis is one way of presenting your research. What you do in the actual research conference, that is your academic presentation, and there you will have, I think it's 20 minutes to present it. But your 3-minute thesis is only 3 minutes and for a general audience. So it is challenging, but it is a good challenge. Is that okay, Riju?
Yes, thank you. But I think
I can just add a couple of lines as Riju asked. So, might be some other researchers also having similar doubts around the Dr. Morris Bono Award. So for that award, few things are quite critical. First thing, for that you need to submit your full paper by 15th October. So first criteria is that you need to submit your full paper. Only abstract submission will not be considered as your eligibility for Dr. Morris Bono Award selection process. Second, you need to be the below of age 35. Any young researchers who is crossing the age 35 will not be considered on the day of presentation. Who has crossed 35 years will not be considered for the award. Third is it will depend upon two things. First is the content of your full paper, and the second is your full presentation that is happening on 24th November. That 20 minutes, around 20 minutes slot you will have that Dr. Sitzel mentioned. So how you're going to present and how effective your presentation goes. So those two things will be the third criteria for judging for the Dr. Morris Bono Award. And there are just two awards. First award is for $500 and the second award is for $300. I hope that answers your question, Rizu.
yes, thank you so much. So in the conference itself, we need to present 2 presentations. One's the 20-minute one and the other one is the 3-minute. Is that correct?
Yes, the 3-minute is happening on 23rd November during the YES workshop. During the afternoon session of the Young and Emerging Researchers Scholars Workshop that we are having on 23rd November. And on 24th November, we are having full day presentations of full papers, 20 minutes each.
Great, thank you so much.
Would anyone else like to ask any questions? We can just have only one question more because of our time schedule. Okay, I see from MSU IIT has raised their hand. Yes, yeah.
Yes. Yes, hello, good afternoon. So I just have one question. If can we participate on the event, regardless if we have submitted an abstract or full paper?
That event is physical, and that is happening on the sidelines of the Regional Assembly of ICA-AP. If you are one of the participants in the Regional Assembly and coming to Colombo to participate in the Regional Assembly, then you can participate in the YES workshop and research conference as observers. So you will not be one of the participants, but you can be an audience and learn and share your knowledge on the platform.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, one last question. I think this question is answered, but just it can be a closing remark also. It's like that type of question. So I would like to ask that I found in the registration box. So the question is for Dr. Heidi and Sabiha. May you clearly explain the importance and the procedure of creating presentation slide for this 3MT competition? Importance and procedure.
I mean, that's what we discussed the whole time. But if I need to wrap up, I would say, don't just build that story of your thesis. Sorry, for the presentation only. In my case, after 4 years, I actually used the same story for my thesis as a vignette. So I introduced as a non-academic way to present my thesis. So, and my thesis examiners absolutely loved it. So I would say that would be one of the beautiful outcome of 3-minute thesis, that you get to see you get to see your research from another lens, not from an academic lens. So maybe build your thesis. Don't just focus on 3-minute thesis or getting a prize or winning it. Build it because you also need some clarity. That would be my say.
Yeah, and if I had to add the one last bit, but Sabiha said that during the presentation is the slide would come after the script. It's more, again, to translate that for yourself and for the others. What is this all about, and why does this matter, and to whom? And then how can I best illustrate that with one slide and one slide only, rather than, oh yeah, I like that picture, and I'm just trying to put the text around it that I ChatGPT. So that's the wrong way altogether. So it's really, what does it mean for you? And what do you want to share for people to remember you? Okay, what was memorable about this research, and find the best illustration for that one slide. And so you can spend more time, more love, because you have only one. So you have time to think about it.
Thank you, Dr. Heidi, and thank you, Sabiha. So now we are about to close this discussion, and just before we close, if I would like to check if Dr. Amita is with us.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, Dr. Amita. Would you like to share your comments and reflections for today's session, as you are one of the research committee members who have joined us here for the session today? Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very, we just put on the list. I think it's a very important session that you have just had, because I have also experienced when my students give presentations, I give them the same pointers and the same tips, because they just make the same mistakes in terms of, how to channelize your findings or your research in very short time to an audience who is not aware of that area in great detail. So I think it's very timely that you've done it before the conference, and I'm sure all the listeners have definitely benefited. And even the pointers about dressing and all, I think that's very, very essential, because many times students and young scholars don't think about these things, but they are important and they do make a difference. So I'm really very enthused with the session today, and I think it's going to be very useful.
Thank you, Dr. Amita. Sorry, I would have introduced you properly, but yeah, I would like to add Dr. Amita is a senior professor at University of Pune and is associated with the Department of Economics and has been a long-time member of our Regional Research Committee at ICA-AP. Thank you, Dr. Amita, for joining us today and sharing your comments. Uh, so, while we are closing this, I would like to extend my thanks to all the participants who have joined here today. Most of you are coming for the Yes workshop in Colombo, so hope to see you all again soon physically. And for those who are not joining us for this research conference, hope to see you soon again in the later conferences. Thank you to our presenters, Dr. Heidi and Dr. Sabiha, and thank you, Dr. Sirsal, for anchoring the session today. So, just before we drop and close this session, may I request each and every one of you to please switch on your cameras to have a quick, nice click for our records and for social media. Thank you. Would love to have some smiling faces on the camera. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. And I'll share the presentations once I receive from the presenters to all of you, and hope to see you all soon again in Sri Lanka. And meanwhile, you will also receive the recordings on the YouTube link for today's session. Thank you, everyone, and all the best for the research conference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to Heidi and Sabiha. Excellent. Really nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a privilege. Thank you.
Okay.